Hi, this is Maginoni. I got some comic reviews for you. Now, I'm going to be brief with some of these because what I really want to do is get to the DC 3000 nonsense. But I got East West, Wolverine and the X-Men, Savage Wolverine, Guardians, and Thor, and Batman Year One. Now, I know that a lot of you know my opinion already about going back like this, and I really don't see why this is necessary. Personally, I like the idea of Batman in the future. I mean, without that missing year, I don't need to know what's going on. You don't have to fill this hidden history. I think pretty much everybody who reads comic books knows Batman's history, and anybody who's seen the movies, the animated series, know his history. And if anything, when you try to go back and piece everything together to try to make yourself look clever, ultimately all you're really going to do is just start pissing people off because you're tinkering. Now, Snyder does do, he still writes a good story. Capullo's art is still really good, and this basically is, as you can see here, is dealing with the Riddler pretty early on in his, or pre-career, I should say. But the one thing in this book that really stands out and made it worth it was Bruce Wayne giving the finger. That was probably the best part of the whole thing. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know why they need to do this. Okay, Thor, God of Thunder, number 9, God Bomb Part 3. Amazing. Oh, freaking amazing. The artwork is just, I look at this kind of artwork and I just go, this is something that DC could never hope to accomplish. And it's just really unusual for me to say this the way I'm going to be saying it, because Marvel was originally known for a certain type of style of writing, and we never got books, rarely got books like of this style, and we're getting a lot of these types of books recently, and for that I really applaud Marvel, editorial department for thinking outside the box. Now, what we have is the three Thors from the different time periods battling. The fight is freaking amazing. I just wish it was longer, but I think what what really, I mean, this part is a little bit of a spoiler, but I think it's been long enough so you guys can handle the spoilage. The best part of this whole thing is, they're fighting, and then you get this part where you don't know what's going on, and then you get quiet, and then it rained blood, and then it rained hammers, and it's over. Fantastic. Just simply fantastic. Aaron is hitting a home run with this title. This is the type of title that everybody should be reading, without a doubt. I mean, you should just drop one random Marvel or DC title if you're at your max and buy this series because it's that darn good. Guardians of the Galaxy, this is pretty much what I consider a filler issue. It's basically moving the story along to get where we need to go. There's some decent fighting in it. There's filling in some plot points along the way, and it's got Groot and Rocket Raccoon in action, and for that I'm extremely happy and very pleased by it. Bendis is still doing a great job writing it, and McNiven's doing a good job with the art, and this is definitely a book that I'm really pleased about getting. But this is, from what I can tell you, this isn't the title to jump that's going to make people jump on. Um, but if you've been starting from issue number 1, you should still like it. The direction it's going, at least. Okay, Savage Wolverine. Well, Matsura, uh, whatever his name is, his art is really fantastic. I mean, it's really good. It's solid, and it, you know, it, he does a really, really good job with Wolverine. Now, my only problem is I feel that I've read this story 20 times already. What it is Kingpin. He's got his problem with the ninjas, the hand, and it has to do with Bullseye because Bullseye is being reanimated, and he gets Elektra to hire out some heroes or some people to take care of Bullseye, and she only brings Wolverine, and Spider-Man's going to come along for the ride, and you know, how many times have we seen this type of story before where it's Wolverine and Elektra, there's Bullseye. If it's not Bullseye, it's somebody else. Insert random villain there. And, you know, while the art is good, I just can't help but thinking, you know, there's nothing really special story-wise, which is a shame. But I'll probably still get it because I think the art is really, really well done. And the villains that they're going to be facing are also, they look pretty wicked. And that's these three right here. So for that, I'm going to stick around, but that's just because of the art. I'm not going to lie. Okay, Wolverine and the X-Men. Okay, now we're finally getting to part one of the Hellfire Saga, which feels like this should be part three because we've been seeing this for how long already. Now we're seeing what it's like in the school, and basically it's, I don't know, it's a dysfunctional version of the Jean Grey school. And on one hand, I'm sure people are going to go, wow, this is really interesting and fantastic. And on the other hand, I think people are going to say, this is kind of boring because this is just the exact opposite and you're not really showing anything special. Now, Husk going crazy is what's really making me interested in this book because she's completely flipped her lid. Toad, the idiot who thought that Husk loved him and listened to whatever she had to say, learned that yeah, she doesn't care about him, and because she's nuts, you know, she's completely nuts. The art is okay. The story, I mean, I don't know. Even though I'm dogging the story, I can tell that it's going to lead up to something that's going to be great, but I just feel that I have exhaustion already because I see this as is number one, but I don't feel it number one because of the build up that led up to it. Okay, East of West number three. It's an okay series. I mean, I'm still enjoying it, but this is another one of those things where it's not going to attract new readers, but I definitely like the direction it's going. Because now we're dealing with Death's wife, and there's going to be a huge, gigantic battle in the very next issue, and that's what I'm really waiting for. Because all this really is doing is just setting up the stages for the battle. Okay, now that we got rid of all of this nonsense, let's just talk about DC 3000. I really don't understand what DC is thinking of when they came up with this idea. Did they not realize that they came up with the story idea already? It's called DC 1 million, where we saw the superheroes 1 million years in the future. And guess what? It was the same characters, but just redesigned costumes. And now what we're getting is, oh, okay, maybe 1 million was too far in advance for you guys to handle, and you couldn't appreciate it. So we're only going to go 3,000 years, and we're going to redesign Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. And oh, by the way, that takes place during the time of the Legion of Superheroes. And in theory, during that time period, the Justice League and all those characters were gone. So that's why the Legion had to step up. So now we're just going to retcon and destroy all of that history. We're going to take away everything that was potentially special about those characters, and now we're going to make them a minor league team because now we have the home run hitters of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. Because once you have that team of the Justice League, you don't need anything else. Like, why would you need the Legion of Superheroes with 50,000 superheroes who can't even solve one problem when you have the Justice League? And you know, and I see fanboys going, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing." But I mean, all right, now maybe if you're newer fans, you don't really know your history and stuff like that. That's fine. But they've done this before, and to me, it just shows that they have no ideas. They have none. They have no concept of the direction that they're taking their company, the way they're doing their stories. And I mean, now granted, you can argue the point. Well, you know, Mud, you know, these things are really planned out years in advance. It takes time to do this, and you're 100% correct. This stuff does take years to plan out. Um, you know, they have multiple meetings on how to plot the course. But let's really look at the situation here. You have Jeff Johns doing Green Lantern. He basically did the same story over and over and over again with the different lanterns. Then, when everything all else failed, you had DC doing the relaunch. They basically said everything that was before didn't necessarily exist, and we're just going to figure out what people want and what we think might be important to what people want, and we'll trash everything else so this way we can move forward, and maybe we'll attract new readers. And then now you have DC doing the Green Lantern Lights Out. Hey, guess what? Let me clue you in on something. They're going to get the battery back. That's how that's going to end. They're going to get the battery back. Nobody's important is going to die because they're going to get the battery. And then you have this mega series going on yet again in the Green Lantern series, because God forbid you have, it go for any length of time without a big mega series that has to tie in everything together. No, you got to now throw in stupid ass 3,000, and then because you don't think that that's even enough, you have to do the month of the supervillains, where you copy Marvel again by putting all these point one issues everywhere, and you highlight all the supervillains. And I know what your hope is. Your hope is that somebody is going to go, well, there's 52 issues of supervillains. I really like supervillains, and I really want to know what they're all about. So I'm going to buy them all. And you know what? You're going to succeed in that department. People will do that. But let me tell you something. You have a bunch of characters that nobody cares about. And on top of having characters that nobody cares about, you're going to have writers and illustrators who nobody cares about because they're not buying those books currently. So you're not only are you taking it off of a character that might have been important or well-liked, but you're replacing that character with a trashy-ass villain that nobody cares about. What do you think is going to happen to those sales? Personally, I don't know what I'm going to even do with this nonsense. I mean, part of me wants to just get them all so this way I can just take care of business, And there's another part of me that's just like, no, man, just save your money because all of these books are going to be utter crap. At least most of them are. And it just, and I swear to God, I know DC has done this too in the past. I mean, Marvel did it with, I guess you can almost say, the Acts of Vengeance, and I'm pretty sure DC did something like this too at some point in time, but I can't remember what it was. But I'm just like, really, this is so freaking stupid. Why do they keep doing these things? I don't care about these gift covers that move. That's gimmicky and just wasting time and money. Let me clue you in on something. To get people to stick with your book, you need quality writing. You need a quality story. You need a hook to make me want to keep reading. Putting a special cover only makes me want to buy that issue, if that. And then I don't care about anything else. Didn't you learn anything about, I think it was during the 80s when you had the boom and the fall, when every single comic was a gimmicky cover and everybody stopped buying it. Well, you keep doing nonsense like this, people are going to stop buying your book. I'm sorry, they already are stopping because your sales are continuing to drop. You had the top for a while, and then Marvel just came up and squashed you like a bug. And which proved that the only thing your reboot did was it generated new sales, generated interest, but you can't keep the interest because your stories as a whole suck. And doing stupid mini events like 3,000, the month of supervillains. You know what? You even spoiled your own Trinity War by saying all the superheroes are gone at the end of Trinity War. You freaking spoiled it. Are you even know what you're thinking? I don't think you do, because you are lost. You're a ship that is lost, and you need guidance to bring you back into port and to write fantastic stories again. I've never seen. You are the Marvel of the 80s, where you have DC zombies who will buy every DC book because it's DC, and they must hate Marvel for some reason because Marvel's just full of Wolverine and Spider-Man comics everywhere. And then they retconned the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and they're already upset. That's the type of readers you have. Because anybody who has half a brain has pretty much stopped buying your books, most of your books, except for the few that are really good. Because the rest of it's just utter garbage. And this lack of ideas and creativity just proves that. Anyways, that's my rant. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Let me know what you guys think about the 3,000, the 50, the month of supervillains, and all this other nonsense that they're trying to pull. That's a sign of desperation. That's not a healthy sign that you have to put all these events run right after the other like that to try to generate interest and try to generate buzz. You should let your stories from each individual issue speak for itself. You should be able to go, look at this, we have our Batman series with Snyder. Look what he's doing with the Death of the Family series. Wow. Look at this Wonder Woman, that fabulous story. We're retelling her origin. Boom, here's Superman. We're leading Superman to the future. Look what he's doing with Lex and Brainiac and this amazing new cast of villains. And Action Comics, how we're filling in this wonderful origin of Superman where he's learning how to fly for the first time, developing his powers. You know, why don't you let those types of stories dictate and tell people that you should buy our books and not try to get us to buy because you have gimmicky covers and crap like that. It just royally pisses me off that you can't step up to the plate because I know that you guys are better than what you're doing. Anyways, I've ranted long enough probably, and because you're going to hear me rant about each one of these things again later. So anyways, until next time.